everybody, I'm AJ.
And I'm Julian.
Today we're going to talk to you about the Tiberius T4.
Pretty solid build. Let's start with what comes with it. When you pick up the T4, you're looking at probably about $1,000 Canadian. So about 900 US. So it's a huge ding to your wallet. You're going to get with a gun is a very well built gun. You get your 4x32 scope with your adjustments, you get your bipod, and you get 2 mags. 2 mags though, one is for HPA and one is strictly for CO2.
So basically to load up a mag, there's no slider, so you can't really slide down the slider. So really you just have to kind of thumb in your first strike rounds and pretty much just load the CO2. You have to take out the whole valve and yeah, just keep doing this. Yeah, there we go. Pops out. And then you kind of open up the cylinder. And then drop in your CO2 from like that with the tip up. And then you can just screw it on and it'll puncture it. And then once you have it all gassed up, it won't leak or anything. And then you just put it right in the mag and then just insert it into the gun.
One of the neat features of the gun, it's mag fed, but it can also be hopper fed. There's a little trap door here. And you can have a hopper fed and a mag fed. So you can have your mags sitting in there full of first strike rounds, and you can have a hopper or any other loader with regular paintballs, and you can just pull on the receiver on the fly to switch to the hopper fed and then you can easily switch back around with a push of a button. You'll see the barrel rotate and the receiver go back to mag fed. Only issue I have with that is, and it makes sense though, I don't think you can really do much to fix it, is when you pull back on this, the barrel rotates, and you're going to have one round from whatever you previously had in there. So if you had a mag fed going in there, as soon as you pull back on this, it's going to seal that one round that's already in there, and it's going to be in the chamber ready to fire before your regular hopper round comes in, or vice versa. It's kind of a con, because if you want to switch to first strike, pick that guy off in the distance from your regular paintballs, you're going to completely have a loaded paintball in there before you can fire off that first strike round or get that first strike loaded into the breech.
The safety and firing switch right here on the side is actually quite smooth. You can just flick it with your thumb whenever you're going off the field or going back on, and there's no chance of ever getting stuck, right? And to take it completely apart, when you're in the fire mode, you just completely go one over, and it'll be like in no man's land type right here. And then you can, that's the disassembly mode, and then right there you can just take it all apart. But if it's in any of the other modes, it's kind of locked together, like it won't come apart at all. And the mag release is pretty much just on the right side here, and it's smooth as well. Mags pop in and out, no problem. There's no stick, no nothing.
And then while you're there, well, on the handle, you got your trigger. And the trigger is solid metal. I like to point that out. Actually, the whole gun is solid metal, except for the stock, which is interchangeable. You can switch it to pretty much any type of stock out there that'll fit it, or any C16 will fit that. And the only other part that's plastic is the handle. So you get to your trigger, it is metal. You probably have maybe a 2 to 5 pound pull. I haven't really measured it, but it's actually a really nice feel. There's a nice force feedback on it. It's not flimsy little plastic trigger you get on some of the guns. So the quality is there. The gun is full solid metal right across the board. It comes with a rail riser, which is perfect because you know that's with our masks we need them. And then you have your nice 4x32 scope.
Quality of the build goes hand in hand with the price you pay. I think that they couldn't have done anything better. You won't have a problem with this gun for the price you pay, right? So you won't lose any screws or anything, because there's not much that you could lose other than the pins down here, but I don't think they come completely out, do they?
No, the pins stay in.
So there you go, you can't even lose them.
And there's one hidden feature to the gun everybody talks about, and you hear it, you might see it on forums, and is that there's a hidden toolkit or compartment, or there's something inside. Well, there is. Really easy to access. You can probably store all your O-rings in there, and there is a dual-sized Allen key in there, which is used to take apart everything within the gun.
Pros and cons. Obviously, big pro if it's first strike ready right out of the box. I really don't have any cons with this gun. I would just use first strike no matter what.
Pro for this gun, like AJ said, is first strike and ready out of the box. You don't need any special attachments. You can just attachments. You can feed them right to the mag. You're good to go. One thing as a con I would not like or not recommend is mag feeding paintballs in here. I think the spring is probably a little bit too forceful. So if you leave paintballs in here, regular paintballs in here for I guess an extended period of time, but extended period of time for this would probably be 30 minutes before you start to see little dents in the balls, which will probably add to a chopping factor. I tend not to have any chopping factor, any chops when I was using the gun with first strike. When I use regular paintballs, it always seemed to chop the last paintball in the mag. So one thing I did not like. Hopper fed though, with regular paintballs, works without a problem. Like any other gun out there that works off a mechanical basis, works fine. First strike though, I have to say in this gun works absolutely amazing. You have the sights scoped in and it works fine. CO2 works great, obviously not in cold weather, that's the only downfall. But that's why they provided you with an HPA mag. So great, you fill this with first strike, you have your first strike on the go, you have your hopper with regular paintballs, and just pull the receiver handle back to switch between the two, and you're good to go. Pick that guy off in the distance, and you will not have any problem, especially in the cold weather. Like up here in Canada, because we live in igloos, right guys? I'd recommend it. Definitely for the first strike usage. That's the whole reason this gun was built. The whole reason they're selling it is for first strike. I would not recommend it though if you're planning to pick this gun up just to use it for regular paintballs. It is not meant for that. It is meant to use them with first strike or just first strike alone. But it's not meant to be a primary regular paintball gun. I would not spend that money on a regular paintball gun, but for the first strike, you're getting your bang your buck.
Basically, Tiberius made this for first strike, right? It's not really made for normal paint, so it's not going to react as well as it could with paint. You throw a first strike in this, and you are the star on the field, right? You cannot go wrong with first strike. Basically, you have a mag in there, first strike, you got 14 confirmed kills basically, because you can do, I don't know, twice the distance of a normal paintball gun and still be dead on accurate.
Let's show you an example of the difference between first strike and a regular paintball. Bing! Oh, you picked that guy off a mile away down the street there by the Tim Hortons. Regular paintball.
Oh god, there's a CO2. So a final verdict for the Tiberius T4, I would have to say, if you're using first strike and switching to paintball, maybe you're doing with a hopper or something, I'd have to give it maybe like an 8, right? Because switching through between the two, right, and normal paint through this thing kind of jostles its performance. But if you're using just first strike only, I would give it a 10 out of 10.
This gun for me, like using it on the field, but you're using it for its intended purpose, first strike only. Yeah, definitely a 10 or maybe higher because its performance is flawless. Mags are awesome. You can contain the CO2 in there, or you use HPA for any other cold weather, preferably area. But 10 out of 10. If you want to use it for regular paintballs, which some fields you have to use their paintball, if you're using hopper loaded, I'd give it a 9. It lose a point because of that, because it's not being used for its intended purpose. But I would definitely not recommend putting regular paintballs in the mag, as it's not meant for that. It's not. You just don't use it for stuff it's not meant for, and I would not give it a good mark there. So regular paintballs through the hopper with your mag first strike, I'd give it a 9. First strike only, I'd give it a 10. It's final verdict.
Well, thanks everyone for your time, and make sure you guys have a happy and safe holidays.
Drive safe.